Hi, I'm Katie Sky and welcome to my channel and welcome to the island of Scuttle. This is my jungle pirate core island and this is the entrance that we did last week, and right over here is going to be where we're working on today. This is the area that I'm going to kind of focus on today, mostly the upper part, not so much the lower, although I will show you a little bit of it. It's really just the same as I did on the other side. And we're going to start with some pathing. And by some pathing, I mean a lot of pathing. So I started with the kind of like boardwalk situation. And then I moved on to the water part and I put the sand portions down first. And then I continued on with the water. There was a lot of water because it's kind of part of the entrance where it's like the port. So there's a lot of water. And then I went ahead and I put the wheat field down on this little bottom section, just like I did in the entrance before I moved on to the little islands. And I did switch out the color of wheat that I was using. I originally was using like the golden color, and then I switched to the pale, and I do think I'm gonna end up even switching that out to the green wheat field just because I think it'll go better with this island. So let me know what you think. And now I'm just lining the walkway like I did in the entrance. I'm just extending it basically. You know, we're doing the log stakes, the barrels, the stacked bags. I'm not going to do any more of the cannons. I want those to only be in the entrance, but those are kind of the main things that we're using in this walkway. And I really felt like I needed to do this lower portion and the walkway before I did the tavern build because I think it was going to look kind of weird otherwise if I just had all of this blank space that I still needed to do. So I went ahead and I just got it done, and I think that it made more sense doing it this way. And I did have to switch out the edge pieces for this walkway boardwalk situation because it wasn't lining up quite right with the other codes. So I just used the same one for the whole thing. And it made that awkward line disappear. So I did that off screen though. So you didn't get to see that, but I'm telling you about it. So that counts, right? And I'm really not sure what I'm going to do on the side areas kind of in between these builds and the beach and the peninsula right there. So I left that for a different video because I have to kind of think what I want to do. If I just want to do like trees, bushes, and flowers, or if I want to do something else. So this is pretty much as much of the side that I do is these little decorations I'm putting down now. And now I'm actually moving on. It's technically part of the entrance, but I needed to add some trees and cliffs back here to make it more jungle core and tropical-ish, because it was really hard to figure out how to transition into a not so structured area. And it's still relatively structured, but I could not figure it out. So I decided to do some extra trees behind this area so that it could be like a transition area into a different part, like basically transitioning out of the entrance. It took me a day to figure out that I just needed trees in this area. I'm not proud to say it took me that long to figure out. So now we're just gonna pop down some trees and bushes and flowers and a couple of decorations. It's not gonna be anything too crazy up here. It's because it's just a filler area basically. I am decorating this kind of similarly to how I did the decorating of my mushroom forest on Moondrop that I did for the ADHD Disability Awareness Month collaboration I did with some other content creators. If you haven't checked out that video, make sure you go check it out. I'm really proud of that, but it's kind of the same vibes, like lots of trees and bushes and flowers, and then like 3 decorations that I just use over and over. That's what these kind of filler areas end up looking like for me. And I'm making sure that I'm using the bamboo, the coconut, and the hardwood trees. I'm not using any of the cedar trees on this island because honestly, I think it would look kind of weird. Because to me, cedar trees are like forest core or like winter islands or, you know, something like that. Not so much tropical. I also feel like tropical and jungle islands tend to have a lot of filler areas because you want like the pretty views with all of the lush trees. So I think there's gonna be a lot of trees on this island, but I mean, most of the islands I do end up having trees in abundance in some way or another, so again, not that shocking. And now I'm just kind of making a transition area from what's like the entrance into the more like residential. It's not even residential, just to the rest of the island. So I needed to not have just a weird like line where like castle items end and then it just is the next build. I feel it felt like really weird doing that, and I even played around with just having the next build also have castle items, but it started to feel really familiar to me because it was very similar. It was starting to look really similar to what I did on Obsidian and even what I've done on Amber Falls. So I didn't want it to look like another island that I've done, so I decided to do this transition area instead and just use fencing for the tavern build. And I went into this build with not a lot of idea what I was doing. I didn't really have a set plan for this build. I was like, I want to do the tavern next. I decided which villager's house it was gonna have in it, which is Katt, if you were curious. And then I was just like, I know the size and I know the place, and that's pretty much it. I didn't really have any other idea. I had a vague idea that I remembered seeing on Pinterest like a long time ago. But besides that, I was like, I have no idea what I'm gonna do for this. So I just kind of went with the vibes. And I do think that it came out fine, even though I normally have more of an idea of what I'm doing going into it. But I think it worked out really good. I think it's gonna be really cute for this island. And you gotta have a tavern on a pirate island. Where are they gonna get their rum? And now we're just moving on to the actual tavern build, and of course we gotta start with so much pathing. So I basically just did a giant square of pathing, and then I started right in on the fencing. And I did the spike fence, I think the spiky fence, I think that's what it's called, just because I think it's very pirate core. And I've never been able to use it before, and now I have, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. I never thought I'd have a reason to. And now I'm just gonna start with the decorations. I did start with the darker ranch chair, and then I did change it out to the more natural colored one because I think it goes a little bit better. But what do you think? Or should I do a completely different chair? Because I really wanted to use the Moroccan tray table because it kind of looks like gold. Maybe like they found it when they were, you know, pirating out in the ocean before they settled on this island. So I kind of want to keep that. I'm not super sold on the chairs, but I wasn't sure what else to kind of do. And I didn't want to put a lot in this area because I still wanted you to be able to walk through. But I did want a little bit of a seating situation because I assume you would be able to sit, or you would need to be able to sit at a tavern so you could drink your adult beverage. I'm not a drinker, so I don't really know for sure if that's what it would be, but that's the vibe that we went for here. And I didn't want to do anything crazy on top of the tables either, so I just did candles and then the bottles that are supposed to look like beer bottles or rum bottles. And then I started to put the simple panels down, and then I immediately decided that I wanted to put them on the other side that I had originally put them on. So, you know, I'm an indecisive person and I can never make up my mind apparently. So then I switched the ones on the right out to be the little barrels, which were interesting to make. And I figured that's where they kind of store a lot of their rum, is in all of these barrels. So, you know, we gotta have a lot of that rum ready to go. And in front of that, I just wanted to put down the jail bars. This is what I'd seen on Pinterest like so long ago, is this kind of design where it's like a barrel. I think what I had originally seen it for was for like a winery build, but you know, you have the barrels and then you put a jail bar item in front of it. So that's what I did. So over here you have the little barrels, you have the bottles of rum, and maybe that's where you pick up your tavern order. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. And then the other side is just more barrel storage, and then the house will go in the middle of that, and it'll just kind of be like Katt runs the tavern. I almost did the wooden boxes that I had in the entrance, but I thought that the barrels looked a little bit more taverny. I know that's not a word, but it's the best way I can describe it. So this is me just putting Katt's house down. I'm probably gonna have to do HHP and change the exterior because it does not look right. It does not go with the vibes, but we'll see if I end up having time for that. If you do have any other build ideas that you think would be really cool on a pirate island though, leave them in the comments below. I'm definitely still looking for a couple of ideas to round out this island. I have several, but I know that I'm gonna need more for the back of the island especially. So if you have any ideas, please let me know. And now I'm just filling out some of the edge space with tiki torches because I thought that would be kind of like the lighting that they have. Because to me, like a tavern, it's gonna have really low lighting. So that's kind of what I did. Also, I love the tiki torches. So we did that, and now we're just moving on to this outer edge. And by that, I mean I put literally a bamboo tree and a bush, and then I immediately get distracted to go build a cliff behind this build. You know, ADHD things. You guys are used to me just like randomly going off and starting on a different thing when I haven't even finished the other side. But I partially did that because I'm not sure what I want to do in that little edge strip on the left side. So I've left it for now while I can kind of think on what to put there. Like if it should just be like natural things like trees and bushes and trees, bushes and flowers, or if I should do some items or some seating area. Let me know what you think I should do in that little area. And now we're just doing a little filler space behind the tavern just to make it look like we're in a lush rainforest island. So everything is gonna have trees surrounding it for sure. And in one of the next couple of videos, you'll start to see me doing the waterscaping because there's also going to be like tons of water. Hopefully, I'm planning on it to be lots of really cool waterscaping spaces on this island as well. And I want to get started on that sooner rather than later because it does take a lot of time. So I also don't want to forget to do it. So we got to start on that pretty soon too. And of course I had to go get the giant vine. I love this item, as I'm sure you've put together with how much I use it. But I love this item for vertical space when you need something really tall to take up space within trees so it doesn't look as empty. I really like using the giant vine there. Also, I just think it's a really cool item, so I always enjoy using it, and a tropical jungle island is the most perfect place to use this item, so I'm very excited about it. I am very easy to please, if you could not tell. And now we're just putting in this cute little sign. It says Ye Old Tavern. I made it myself. It's very cute, in my opinion, but of course I made it, so I'm gonna think it's cute, of course. And we're just gonna add some little wheat field inside, and we are done. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!